It all starts with a place on a map. Look here. This is Nkwanta South, nestled in Ghana's Oti region. Visual. The map shows the district with arrows pointing to farming areas, a place of rolling hills and fertile soil. You can trace the main road, a vital artery. Nkwanta, the district capital, Shia, Tutukpene. These aren't just dots on paper, they are homes, they are markets, they are places where generations have been born and buried. The land here is everything. It is the source of yams, it is the source of cassava, it is the source of cocoa, it is the bank account. But the map cannot show the invisible lines. Lines of tradition, lines of ancestry, lines that dictate who can farm a plot. Rights often passed by oral history, not title deeds. At the heart of the conflict are four interlocking issues, like a complex knot that's been pulled tight over many years. The first and most important is land. In a place where most people are farmers, land is not just a resource. It is life itself. It's the difference between feeding your family and going hungry. For generations, the Adel Akyodi Chala peoples have navigated a delicate balance, using traditional systems to decide who farms where. But these systems are unwritten. They rely on memory, respect the word of the chiefs. When new people arrive, or when populations grow and more land is needed, these old understandings can begin to fray. Who truly owns the land? The people who were here first? The people who have farmed it for 50 years? The questions hang in the air, unanswered. Over the decades, different groups have settled in Nkwanta South, drawn by the promise of fertile land. This has created a rich, diverse community, but it has also added layers of complexity to the land issue. It's a quiet tension that can exist for years, a hidden current beneath the daily interactions. Market, shared village, well. It's a story not of malice, but of competing needs and histories. And the story of the recent clashes doesn't begin on the day the first house was burned. It has deeper roots. If we look at our timeline, we can see flickers of trouble in the 1990s and early 2000s, small-scale disputes over farmland, usually resolved by the chiefs. But the character of the area was changing. Population was growing. More people needed more land. The old ways of resolving disputes were being stretched to their breaking point. The tipping point, according to many locals we spoke to, came in late 2023. It started, as these things often do, with something symbolic. A disagreement arose concerning the celebration of the annual Yam Festival. Close up. November 2023, Yam Festival dispute. A festival that should be a time of unity became a flashpoint for asserting dominance and ownership. Words were exchanged that could not be taken back. The delicate fabric of trust began to tear. From there, things spiraled downwards with devastating speed. By early 2024, sporadic violence erupted in Nkwanta town and then spread to the surrounding farming communities. Close up. February 2024, clashes escalate. Homes were set ablaze, farms were destroyed, lives were lost. People fled their homes with nothing but the clothes on their backs. A curfew was imposed. The army and police were deployed to enforce a fragile peace. To truly grasp the cost of this conflict, you have to leave the main road and venture into the affected communities. On our map, we can mark these places. Areas on the outskirts of Nkwanta town, small farming hamlets near Tutukpene. These are not just locations, they are scenes of profound loss. We walked through the remains of what was once a vibrant neighborhood. The first thing that hits you is the silence, a heavy, unnatural quiet, where there should be the sounds of children playing and people going about their lives. What remains are the skeletal outlines of homes, corrugated iron roofs blackened and twisted by fire. Walls of mud brick have crumbled, leaving ghostly rectangles where doors and windows once were. Inside these ruins, you find the heartbreaking debris of abandoned lives. A single child's shoe, blackened cooking pots, the scorched frame of a bicycle. We spoke to a woman, Amma, who stood numbly beside the pile of rubble that was her home. "Everything is gone," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "The yams we stored for the year, the the children's school books, the pictures of my parents. Everything is just ash now. The scars are not just on the houses, they are on the land itself. We saw farms deliberately destroyed, rows of yam mounds hacked to pieces, cassava uprooted and left to rot. In a society built on agriculture, this is more than vandalism. It is an attack on a family's ability to survive for the next year. It's a message of intimidation. You are not welcome here. With homes gone and farms destroyed, families lose their shelter, their food source, and their income all at once. The most profound damage is invisible. It's the trust that has been burned down along with the houses. We saw segregated markets. We heard children who no longer play across the divide. Schools remain closed, a fractured landscape of fear, grief, and uncertainty. And even in the midst of such profound division, the desire for peace is a powerful human instinct. The first attempts to stop the bleeding came from within the community itself. Getting leaders to talk in neutral locations, bringing chiefs and youth leaders to the same table. These talks were tense, but sharing the same room was a start. The District Security Council deployed police and military patrols, enforced the curfew, manned checkpoints, and tried to create a buffer. Pastors and imams organized joint prayer sessions. Chiefs urged their youth to show restraint. Enadmo assessments led to distributions. Bags of rice, mattresses, cooking oil, a bandage on a gaping wound, but vital. Talks of compensation, slow, imperfect. How do you price memories turned to ash, a year's lost harvest? Perhaps the most forward-looking response, proper land surveys. Leaders petitioned the government and the Lands Commission for comprehensive documentation. Clear, legally recognized boundaries, title deeds, a crucial admission, the old ways were no longer enough, a whisper of a long-term solution. Ending the cycle of violence in Nkwanta South requires more than just a ceasefire and a handshake. It needs a deliberate, multi-pronged approach that addresses the root causes. Based on our conversations with farmers, chiefs, and officials, 5 clear ideas emerged. First, clarify the map. Government, Lands Commission, and traditional authorities must urgently survey and demarcate all lands. Transparent, participatory processes producing titles and maps. Certainty replaces ambiguity. Evidence replaces argument. Second, create economic hope. Invest in skills, masonry, carpentry, mechanics, and small agro-processing. A dignified alternative gives youth a stake in peace. Third, empower peacemakers. A permanent local peace council of respected elders, women leaders, youth, and religious figures. Train them in mediation and conflict resolution. They act early, dousing sparks before fires. Fourth, invest in shared services, schools, clinics, community centers, equitably across the district. Shared services build shared communities. Finally, credible justice and rapid response. Investigate murders, arson, and property destruction. Drill impartial, rapid interventions. Security is the bedrock for all peace building. The 5 paths are structural and long-term, the work of years, not days. But peace is also rebuilt in small, everyday interactions. The journey back to trust begins with a single step. It begins with the courage to define narratives of hatred, planting small seeds of peace. A farmer buys seeds from a different ethnic group's stall. A greeting, a question about family, a simple transaction as defiance. At the borehole, one woman smiles, another helps lift a heavy bucket. A connection is made. Market. Well. Bus stop. These spaces are the front lines of peace building. Stop sharing rumors, challenge us and them talk. Teachers can mix children from different groups when schools reopen. Lasting peace will be the sum of 1,000,000 tiny, deliberate acts of grace.